Hello and welcome back to Prime Tech. In today's in-depth presentation, we are at Al Fajr Company to do the first build for our channel, which is considered a little bit a premium build. And it targets video editors, the content creators and the gamers as well. So stay with us. So the most unique features about this Z790 is that it comes from the factory with the support of Intel 13th generation without any BIOS update. You will not need any BIOS updates. Also, it supports a capacity of DDR5 memory that runs at up to 7600 megahertz and with a capacity of 192 gigs of RAMs. There is 4 slots for these RAMs, and also it supports 3 M.2 NVMe's. One of them is Gen 5. Also it supports wireless 6E and a good VRM phases, so you can do a bit of overclocking for any CPU that you want. So the motherboard here in Gaza costs $390. And you'll notice that the prices here in Gaza are a bit overpriced because there is too many authorities that take taxes, especially the GPU. It is about twice the price from abroad. So the chosen CPU is the Core i9, is the Intel Core i9 13900K, which comes with 24 cores, 8 performance cores and 16 efficiency cores. The performance cores goes up to 5.4 GHz and the efficiency cores goes up to 4.3 GHz. The performance cores supports multi-threading, but the efficiency cores does not support multi-threading. And the total number of threads for this CPU is 32 threads. And here in Palestine it costs $780. Unfortunately, that's really very huge amount of money to pay. And we selected that because they are the only solution and the only option available, unfortunately, and we do not have any 32 by 2 DIMMs. The cost of these memories are $100 per single DIMM. So we selected these 2 sticks of Samsung 980 Pro NVMe Gen 4 that goes up to 7000 megabytes per second as a read, and these 2 sticks supports VNAND 3D DRAM. Also, they are manufactured by TLC company from Taiwan. Here the 1 terabyte costs $180 and the 2 terabytes costs $280. So we've chosen this power supply because it is the only PSU available here with enough, let's say, headroom for the GPU and the amazing CPU that draws up to 350 watts if it is fully stressed, and the GPU that consumes about 250 watts. So this power supply is not modular at all, so we'll replace when other alternatives come. And this power supply costs $100. The GeForce RTX 4070 Ti from Aorus, the Aorus Elite version. So the RTX 4070 Ti comes with 12 gigs of VRAM, GDDR6X. You know that the modern games and gaming requires more than 8 gigs of VRAM, and we don't know where our gaming industry goes and where the gaming industry takes us. 5 years ago, 8 gigs of RAM was really very high to get, and the games were not utilizing about 4 gigs of RAM only. So the most amazing part of this RTX 4070 Ti is the power consumption, and it keeps itself cool, as we'll see in the benchmarks and in gaming. Unfortunately, this card here costs $1,100. So the Antec Symphony 360mm that supports 3 fans of 120 mil for each. This cooler will exchange when other alternatives come. Let's say the difficulty of importing electronic parts and PC parts, to be honest. So this cooler costs $130 here in Gaza. It features two fans of 160mm at front and one rear fan as exhaust. At the back end, one rear fan as exhaust of 140mm. The cost of this case is $130. And only for the PC parts, not to mention the monitor and the accessories and peripherals, it costs $3,470. So the most important part to do after just finishing the build and before installing the Windows, you have to enable XMB for profile 1. Just hit XMB 1 and the RAM will be set to 5600 megahertz. And after that we can save and exit and have a stick of Windows 11 Pro and download it. So now after gaming benchmarks, let's try the Cinebench R23 for this CPU and this cooler. We'll try the single core performance and the multi-core performance, and we'll share with you the results as we are running HW-Info64 to see how much the temperature will get on the Core i9-13900K with this AIO from Antec Symphony 360. Let's start by multi-core performance test. So now after stressing the CPU for 10 minutes on Cinebench R23, it scored a multi-core performance 38,039 points. There was a bit of thermothrottling or too much thermothrottling because the cooler couldn't handle the higher wattage of the CPU, which reached about 340 watts. So the thermothrottling, it causes the CPU to throttle itself to 4.8 gigahertz instead of 5.7. But it is really decent score. So now let's try the single core performance. The CPU achieved 2,136 points, which is really great. So all in all, single core performance does not stress the CPU and does not make it thermothrottle because it is only a single core. So the temperatures would not go high. It won't affect the speed of the CPU. In the last test, it scored, in the last test multi-core performance, the CPU was able to get 5.8 gigahertz at slightly the first seconds of the test. So the most amazing part about this build is, beside the CPU and the excellent GPU, the CPU performance is absolutely staggering, and the case. I love the case. It is not the RGB version. You may find it like a dull from the outside, from the front panel, but it performs as it should be. It is dead silent, so it is very amazing, and it provides really amazing airflow through the system itself.